So here we are for round 3 of Club 100 experience, and we're back at Bayford Meadows where we had our first taste of Club 100 racing. So hopefully it's going to be a nice return back and we can get a good result. If you watched part 1 of this series, then you'll know that last time at Bayford Meadows we did the 1 hour race that was going on in the day before the Experience Championship races as well. And we did that again because we clearly didn't learn our lesson and enjoyed having incredible wrist pain at the end of the day. But this time it went considerably better. Came third overall, which was really cool. Had some really good fun racing, and the wrists weren't in pieces at the end of it, which was good. Lots of changeable conditions as well, made it good fun. And those changeable conditions ended up following through to the racing now, and you can see it's slightly wet. And because of that, we ended up getting completely yeeted going into the first corner and just about managed to keep it on the concrete runoff there. But we go from 6th on the grid to 4th momentarily, and then all the way down to 32nd out of 32 runners. So I think you can agree that that was the worst possible outcome of turn 1 that could have happened. But it sets up some good racing ahead, trying to come back to the pack. Because we have a few positions given to us, thanks to a coming together between a few of our competitors, and then trying to put it up the inside just so we don't get forced out wide going through the horseshoe. Trying to pick off any positions that we can whilst keeping it clean and not getting caught out by the slipping conditions. Drawing lap 1 when everyone's very close, there's a little bit of pushing and shoving, trying to get into position. As we're going 3 wide through this fast little kink before the pineapple corner. Try to sneak up the inside but get told no. So we slot in for the end of lap 1, gain a free position there. Thanks to the misfortune of somebody else, and we're 27th going into lap 2, having started 6th on the grid, so down 21 positions so far, but we end up picking up a few more here as we get past a few people that run wide going through turn 1, and then trying to keep it as narrow as possible going through the first hairpin, just trying to pick off anyone that's run wide and defending those positions a little bit just so that we can keep moving forwards, not have to battle for too long during these first few laps. Another little coming together there, and tried to get it around the outside but didn't quite have the pick up, end up having to yield going around the outside, but live to fight another day. Alright drive coming off that last hairpin, which means that we can carry a little bit of speed around the outside and secure 22nd place. Just about get out the inside now going into the kink. There's not really much room on the outside there, seeing as there was a bit of rubber that had been laid down over the course of the day, and it got quite slippy, as you can see there from the cart in front. Get on that rubber, can't quite get to that curve, and you end up drifting quite wide through there and have nothing but that grass staring in the face, which is not the best. Skip forward a little bit now, and we've got another 3 wide situation there, nearly sneaking up the inside to make it 4 wide, but think better of it, but do get up the inside eventually, and manage to take all 3 of those carts going into the 3rd hairpin, and then up the inside of the 4th, getting yourself up into P17. With a little skip forward, we've lost the position at this point, but I think we managed to get it back here, plus 1 more going into the first corner. Again, just trying to keep it as tight as possible in these wet conditions, taking that racing line and putting yourself in the best possible position to keep moving forwards. Just defending a little bit going through the 2nd hairpin. Jumping forwards again, now we're on the back of the next group of carts, and at this point the track is starting to dry in places, and you could get it all the way to the apex around this first corner now. Couldn't quite the speed that you could do in the drive. You could get it to the apex, but running wide there at this point was really losing time, so we were able to take a slightly better line to that first corner, get a place there, and nearly get a place going into the first hairpin. Didn't quite get it, but a mistake on the exit means that we get a slightly better run, can get up the inside into the 2nd hairpin, and taking that curve just to help us get round. Using the grip of the curbs really helped when it was wet like this. And then another little jump forwards, and like I was saying, it was drying in places, but this section of track was definitely taking longer to dry than some of the other parts. A very windy day today, and I think this part of the track was just a little bit more sheltered by those trees. But a mistake from the cart in front allows us to get up the inside and up into P13. with a little skip forward, and you can see now that sun is starting to really come through those clouds, and throwing up the inside into hairpin number 3, able to get a reasonable drive off it, and because it's starting to dry we can really get over into that left-hander and get a good drive down towards the horseshoe. Still in P10, but the track is definitely drying now and it's practically fully dry through there. Get a good drive off and going down towards the horseshoe, try to sneak it up the inside but nothing doing, and we have to just tuck in and try and find somewhere else to make that move. Lost the element of surprise now though, definitely know that we're there. And a little bit more rain started to come down but nothing particularly heavy. Tried to look up the inside of hairpin number 2 but nothing doing. Good clean driving, and again just tucking in, looking for that next opportunity. A little bit of a better drive than Kevin coming off here. Tried to put it down the inside of the horseshoe again but not quite there. It's still a little bit slippy at that part of track, so we didn't want to go into a mistake and ruin both our races. But this time, good drive coming off the final corner, we're able to get up the inside, and because that first corner of drive we can really get over and take that nice flowing line through turn number 1, and we're up into P8. Last half of the last lap now, we got ourselves up into P7 thanks to a penalty from in front, and very close to possibly having P6 at the end, but not quite there. You can see it started to rain a little bit again just towards the end, which allowed us to break down that gap in front, but not quite there. Rather than forcing it, just taking what was given. Considering being all the way down in 32nd at the start of that race, finishing 7th overall, even if a couple at the end were down to penalties. Pretty good comeback, and we'll start P7 for race number 2. So P7 this time, on the right hand side of the grid. The side of the grid I was hoping to be on, because it's definitely slightly better, but we press the go pedal and don't seem to go, as you can see everyone else does, and we're just going backwards. So we're dropping down the order, which is the opposite direction that you should be trying to go at the start of the race. Just for anyone watching this trying to get any tips, you don't want to be going backwards, which I seem to be doing a brilliant job at doing today. But we don't go back to 32nd like we did last time. So just P12 for now, get back up into P11 and P10 just for a moment, but not in a good position going around the left hander, and end up going back down to P11, and then lose another one up the inside, going into the horseshoe P12, and then that's where we would sort of sail out to the start of race 2. But it is dry for now, so hopefully a few more options for overtaking, even if the challenge of the weather isn't going to be helping us out at all. Going into hairpin 3, a little bit of a gap left, so we tried to throw it down the inside but can't really make it stick, and end up with a compromise line going to the left hander, and that compromise line plus probably just the tiniest little bit of lack in the low end means that we go down into P3 due to a better run from the driver that's now ahead of us going through that left hander. So we've got all to do from here. Partly helped out from a yellow flag zone going through corner 2. Somebody had spun off or been knocked off there, so that helps us out a little bit. And then we get another little bit of space going into this hairpin again, so we go for it. This time a bit more space in front of us, so we can maintain our speed going through there a bit better. And we end up with a better drive through the left hander this time. Defending a little bit coming out of it, but we keep that position this time. P11 going down to corner number 2. And space opens up on the inside, so we throw it down in there and we're up into P10. That move was working well for us today, going into the first hairpin. Had to give space going through hairpin number 2, but we're back at the inside for the next one, and we finally seal that move off. Good little exchange there, good bit of fun. Jumping forward back up onto the 2 in front. Now some questionable defending here, especially at this early stage in the race. Driver in front managed to get past. We're sort of stuck there for now, and a little bit of looking over the shoulder here, a bit of weaving. So we use that to advantage now. So wait for him to look over. He comes over to the box stuff and we throw it up the inside, going into hairpin number 3, and seal that move off P9, and now trying to chase down P8. And we ended up chasing down P8 for quite a while. We didn't really have anyone in front of us to chase down, and it was a good sort of 7-8 minutes that we were in P9, but we eventually get the opportunity going into the hairpin. Again, leave space, so we take that up into P8, and we're able to keep that with a couple of laps left to go. But unfortunately it wouldn't stay like that, so going down into the hairpin, just missed the apex, and again, because of that probably ever so slightly being down on bottom end, don't get the drive, and it was my mistake, just left way too much space, allowed the move up to the inside, and ended up dropping back down to P9, and then from that point didn't really have any opportunity for the rest of the race to get that P8 again. So going through the last few corners, and it would be a P7 in race 1, a P9 in race 2, and we ended up finishing 7th overall for the weekend. So could have been better, I think. Judging from pace, maybe could have been in top 5 overall for the weekend if we hadn't had poor starts in both races. But I think the weekend redeemed slightly for the fact that we managed to get that podium in the endurance race beforehand. So not a bad time out at Bayford Meadows. Again, starting to quite like this circuit. Hopefully come back here a few more times in the future. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, have a good one.